what's up, everybody? I'm gonna give you guys the review for Luke Cage Season 2, Episode 10, called The Main Ingredient. So, I know y'all probably like, this video's late, so here's what happened. Actually, I was up ready to do the video and whatnot. Actually ended up recording it, and like the shit literally just fucking stopped recording. I was just like, you know what? I'm probably just gonna wait, and I thought that I would get through it, and then come back, and then I didn't. So I actually finished the series. So I wrote notes for this episode and episode 11. I didn't really write notes for the last two, so I want to get these up, go back, and either rewatch them completely or just kind of like go through it just to write down the main points. Because it's not until like the last episode that everything pretty much just like runs the fuck together. So a lot of these are not necessarily filler episodes. I'm just not going to necessarily do the dialogue between the two because I haven't. So yeah. But anyway, we start off with so we start off with Luke going to the shop and is I'm not gonna say accosted, but he runs into some teens and some kids, and they're pretty much wanting him to do something about the police rounding up innocent Jamaicans given the wake of everything that has happened. And it's so crazy how everything ends up being Luke's fault. If y'all are wondering like why my attention goes various places, like my notes right here, y'all right here, and my Nintendo Switch is right here. Like I look, I'm an air traffic controller by trade, so multitasking is what the fuck it is that I do. So if I'm looking down y'all, or if I'm looking over y'all, I'm not ignoring y'all. Please don't think that I am. But they're pretty much putting the pressure on him to do something, even though it's not really within his means to do so. And it was so messed up that even there was a young little girl, I think she's probably somewhere between the age of like 7 and 9, I would assume. And she says to him, "You're no better than the damn cops." And I was just like, well, I did not know we spoke to, elders like that, but all right, because I'm just going to let y'all know, had I sat there, because I'm going to assume that Luke is in his 30s. Now, I ain't going to fucking lie. If you 10 years older than me, motherfucker, you can get it verbally. Outside of 10 years, I wouldn't do it as a child, but I wish the fuck I would as a 8 to 10-year-old sit here and talk to somebody that's in their 30s. Shit, I would have got this taste slapped out of my mouth. Shit, they would have put the motherfucking flip flops on my ass. I'm just saying. But anyway, they ain't got nothing to do with this. But he goes to the shop. And DW's there. Not really adding much to it. But Danny Rand, the immortal Iron Fist, walks in. And, he says that he's there to check up on him and whatnot. Is mentioning that, he needs to try to channel some of his energy and whatnot. So they sit there, they meditate, trying to come to some type of conclusion or reason to like what happened the night before with Bush just pretty much just breaking out the way that he did. So in the process, Danny's just like, okay, you really can't be phased that much. Like if a bomb goes off, like the shrapnel's going to bounce right off you. So that's going to happen there. But when you fought him, you said he bled. So with that being said, since he's not as invincible as you are, then that means he needs a doctor of some sort. And they're like, okay. But then Luke was just like, yeah, he may need a doctor, but he needs a doctor that is like off the books. Because if he went to a regular doctor, seeing that's how he just broke out of police custody, he would be apprehended soon after, being healed, which given the incident with the nightshade, they probably wouldn't be able to heal him. So it dawns on them that, okay, Matilda is probably the one to that they need to go after to get the answer to all these questions. So now they're on the search for Matilda. Make sure I ain't forgetting shit. So then we have Ben, who previously was Mariah's lawyer, is now back as her lawyer. So you have him, her, and Shades at Harlem's Paradise, and he pretty much brings up the fact that everything that was hers has been restored. The fact that they had what's that boy name, Piranha, sign that document under duress, he can't do that. You can't legally sign a legal binding document under extreme duress, which is pretty true. That's just like someone who is doing a will or something like that. If they are not in the right state of mind, that will is, null and void. So that was their pretty much their little catch and whatnot. And she pretty much told him just like, yeah, thank you, but I still can't trust you as far as I fucking throw you. And so there's a point where we see, all right, so you have what's her name, Misty. She's trying to figure out where is Nandi. Where is Nandi? Can't find Nandi. Then there is so that's at one point in the episode. Then we get to a point where, and I'm sorry, at the same exact point, she's going through her Facebook and whatnot. So then she tells Bailey, "Hey, I need for you to come over here to see something." Pretty much walks him in to the interrogation room, same interrogation room that she met with Chief in when they were discussing the terms of giving immunity to. Damn it, my brain's not Mariah. There we go. So their whole thing is like, okay, where is Nandi? We can't find her, haven't seen her, have you seen her? He says no, and they bring up the fact that, okay, well, we were attacked. We, and when she said, and more or less the whole we, more over meaning her, Misty, would have lost our lives that night. Now, no one else knew where we were, and it wasn't even mentioned back here until I came back to broker the deal. And his whole thing is, well, I wasn't there, so I don't know what you're talking about. But then they mentioned, okay, but Nandi was. And just 2 weeks ago, security had put a device into where, because they have to scan their IDs to get access to their room anyway. Now, when you scan your ID, it is pretty much creating a log of where you were when you accessed certain rooms. So the time in which she used her ID matches the time they were in there discussing what happened. So they feel that, hey, she's probably the one that did it. And Missy's just like, you know what? Like, I'm going off my gut instinct. And he's just like, oh, like when you trust a scarf. And I'm sitting here like, well, damn, it's kind of shady. But it's almost duly noted. Almost. And I'm out of focus. There we go. Back in focus. I didn't have to do anything. So he has I guess street camera footage and the camera actually points at, I want to say, the back entrance of Harlem's Paradise, and they see her coming out, which that matches the timeline of everything. So at this point she's like, okay. And then the captain is like, okay, well, I need for you to run her credit cards, everything like that. They got a ping that she went and got a fucking Uber. So they meet her at the airport. Now, initially, it's like, why the fuck isn't she in the airport waiting to get to the terminal like everybody else? Private jet. Now, she got 3 mil. But the thing is, like, she was trying to flee with said 3 mil. Well, they caught her. And you have Misty beginning to read her Miranda rights. And she's like, you don't want to turn around to be handcuffed. She turns around, then, of course, Nandi want to sit here and cold clock her. So they have their little spat, and of course Misty was giving her the business, but they went ahead and put her ass in custody for Misty could sit here and really give it to her ass. So now she is locked up, and later on in the episode, 'cause I have notes here, but later on in the episode, Nandi is pretty much going to prison. This is going to create somewhat of an internal thing, so it's not necessarily going to be media wise, but they're going to have like a higher agency or whatever really looking into them and on their asses. But captain, I think is I forget what her name is, but the captain who took over, she pretty much just like, okay, well, my tenure here is only but limited, and I think that you are the best person to pretty much take this thing and become the very next captain. And Misty whole thing is, okay, well, I'm just a detective. And she's like, no, a detective first class. And look, we got a bulletproof black man running around here. So look, anything is possible. Anything can happen. All right. Oh, grab a pen. Just make sure, like, I didn't just shit up because I know I done jumped all over the effing place. All right, so you have Mariah. Mariah is when Shades have I think is Anansi, who is the uncle to Bush, pretty much trying to figure out, okay, where is Bush? His whole thing is I don't know where he's at. If I knew where he was at, I wouldn't tell you. In the process of Luke and Danny looking for Tilda, they obviously go to Harlem's Paradise. They go there, and Mariah sees them and says, Shades, okay, we need to go out to greet with them. And he's like, why? Her whole thing is we don't want them to come up because if they come to fuck up, they gonna see this motherfucker kind of, tied up, and it's gonna be an issue. They have a little back and forth. She's even taunting Luke by saying, your father is something nice, something fun. I could have gave him something to, pray about. I'm just like, you ain't shit, Mariah. But Luke is pretty much telling her like, look, don't do nothing stupid. He's like, you know what, better yet, please do something stupid. I want you to do something stupid, so I come up in here and fuck this whole damn place up. So that part's done. I'm trying to see if I really just want to sit here and connect everything or not. So there is a point that Mariah and the uncle do sit down and talk. Now we did hear Bushmaster give his little dissertation, his little, soliloquy to Mariah when he was trying to burn her ass alive as to the relation, like why he's doing it, what happened between their families. She goes on to tell some of the same story, but her whole thing is just that it is what the fuck it is. Like, you had this people who had police, you had this people that had that. So what my grandfather decided to do was fuck it. Yeah, we gonna sacrifice yours, but. And I think they also have a distillery that actually produces the rum by the same exact name. And she was like, well, her grandfather actually had, I guess, either the recipe or a version of the recipe, which is how they're making their money. And she's pretty much just like did it in deep, just kind of just giving him the big old FU. And then, Nancy is just like, you know what? At first, I had pity on you, and I was telling my nephew not to go as hard as he was going. But now seeing you in the flesh and seeing what it is that I see, I wish nothing good on you. I think he probably could have kept that one to himself, because later on in the episode, he's being walked to his restaurant, and in the process, Sugar pretty much like, you know what, they're going too far, I fucking quit. So Sugar is out. They get there, before they go in, Shades is saying to Mariah, okay, we are literally, he's going to be our bargaining chip. Like, he's saying that, and of course, cinematography wise, that was said for a reason, because what happens, they go in and Mariah ends up seeing Billy in there, and then they click like, okay, she's the reason that everything went left for me. So because she was the one that was standing there when all the information pretty much came out. So it's just like, fuck. And then she's trying to apologize. I forget who. I think it might have been Shades, but gave that ass a weird quick. She goes down. A girl goes to console her. She gets a bullet to the head. You have one guy trying to run out. He gets a bullet to the head. Then there's a scene pretty much being filmed from the outside where all you see is lights from, discharges. Like, doom, 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 doom. Even Ingrid, I think she might have got popped in the neck or whatever, but Ingrid is down. So, and then they go back in and show, a Nancy just kind of, just like doing this because he can hear the gunshots because he's blindfolded, but he can't see anything. They pull the blindfolds off, and I'm not gonna fucking lie, like this fucking series have brought. I wasn't ugly crying, but it brought some tears out, and this one did. It's just like I could only imagine being in his shoes and standing there, knowing where you are, not being able to see anything, but all you can hear is just a blatant gunshot. And then to have the fucking blindfold pull and to see your family lay the fuck out. And he falls to the floor and he's trying to find Ingrid, who is his wife, and then he sees Ingrid, and I was just like, Lord, that hurt me. And then it's at this point that they pour, I believe it was Bushmaster rum all over him, and Mariah decides to pretty much light his ass on fire, which that up until that point I think Shades was still good, but it was at that point he's just like, holy fuck, this shit didn't went all the way to fuck left. Lit the match, lit the motherfucker on fire. He pretty much told us like, when you eat, you ain't gonna taste. Like literally, your whole world's gonna be flipped the fuck upside down. And he's screaming, and she couldn't take it, so she takes her out fucking pistol, pops his ass in the head because he was making too much fucking noise. But you can see on Shay's face where it's just like, fuck, man, fuck. All right, what have I missed again? I know I'm jumping over. All right, so Luke goes to meet with a guy named Turk. You know, I guess we could say a reformed drug dealer. He works not necessarily in a dispensary, but in a store that sells bongs and whatnot. And of course, you know, Luke know who to talk to get the dirt on who doing what, who doing where. So he pretty much mentions that the Jamaicans are very upset. Is it the no, not the Jamaicans, the gangs, the other gangs are upset because pretty much the Jamaicans are making it hard for them to push, you know, their weed and whatnot because they literally just took over one of the biggest grow houses. And they so Danny and Luke put two and two together. They're probably growing nightshade there, so they go there. We gonna cut through all the motherfucking fight scenes and shit. But they do find because you can see them, I guess, like trying to. They have like I guess we could say baby nightshade, but they have a more mature one that is isolated, and it has a truly mature, you know, if ever use it. They decide that they're going to burn the motherfucker down, and Danny ends up buying the building and the land up under it. So no harm, no foul. I said that. I said that. And I guess the last thing is, so they have a dinner, Danny and Lou, and he's pretty much talking to him about, you know, again, channeling that energy. Like when they did that big ass fight scene at the dispensary, I'm sorry, at the grow house, that he says that everything was in line and he needs to stay there in a good place. And it's at this point he reveals that he came to see him because Claire contacted him. Claire wanted him to check up and just make sure that he's okay and try to get him to be in a better place. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, was there other shit that happened? Yeah. Am I going to talk about it? Nah. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, the series is good. I mean, granted, I'm not there yet. What I will say is the way that this shit ended, I wasn't expecting. I did. We're gonna get there, obviously, and I know I'm doing too much foreshadowing. Like there was several things that I saw happen that was like I saw this shit coming. The way this shit ultimately ended, I did not fucking see coming. I just fucking didn't. But it is what it is. So that's all that I have. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and share. I will see you guys momentarily for the next video. Peace.